Hey guys, I'm Richard Neowin, and today we're unboxing the Lenovo Yoga C940 15. So, this is actually the first 15-inch C900 series PC that Lenovo has put out. So C means convertible. I did review that 13-inch S940 that was out earlier this year, and I loved it. It's a beautiful device. So this is the C940. I reviewed the C930 last year, and it's really cool. It's got a rotating sound bar in the hinge, which we're going to take a look at because it's on this model too. So basically what Lenovo did is they took those best elements of the C930 that was out last year, which is awesome, and they took some of those best elements from the S940 that was out this year, and they kind of put them all into the C940, which is available in 13 and 15-inch models. Okay, so let's get this out of the box. It is kind of heavy. It's 4.41 pounds, and that's for good reason, because this is actually a pretty powerful convertible, which is something you don't see that many of. It's got an 8 series processor. It's got dedicated graphics, so there's some power in here. So the device is going to be in that box. Looks like they're going the Dell route, which is by putting just the laptop in a box and putting the charger in something completely separate. I am a little curious about what kind of charger's in here. Here's the cable. The brick, yes, it does use Lenovo's proprietary USB Type-A shaped adapter. It's 135 watts. Okay, so that's not really surprising. It does have, like I said, it's a 45-watt 8 series processor. This is a Core i7-9750H, which is a hexa-core CPU, 9th gen. And then, of course, there's dedicated graphics. So the specs on this are pretty similar to what I've had in the ThinkPad X1 Extreme that Lenovo sent me. But obviously, that's a clamshell. This is a convertible, and like I said, convertibles with this kind of power are somewhat rare. Once you start going, 15-inch convertibles in general are kind of rare. Dell made the XPS 15 2-in-1, and that was on Kaby Lake G, which was an 8th gen processor that had dedicated graphics on the die. They never refreshed it though, and I don't think they're going to. HP has the Spectre 15X360, and that's probably the most comparable device to this. It's got that 45-watt processor. It's got that, I think it's got a, I'm going to say an NVIDIA GTX 1050. This obviously has a 1650, but I'm not sure if HP ever refreshed theirs either. So, if you look at, you can actually look at Surface Book 2 as well, which has actually a U series processor in that detachable form factor. And that's because of thermals as well, because that screen has to come off, and the CPU is in that screen. But and then the GPU is in the base. You get a 1060 or a 1070. So and then if you look at obviously clamshells like the actual XPS 15 proper, actually the Surface Laptop 15, Surface Laptop 3 is a 15-inch model, and those are two very different machines. Like the XPS 15 is a powerful device like this. The Surface Laptop 3 is more of an Ultrabook style, which like the 15-inch Ultrabook style is actually, that's a very rare one. Usually when you go 15 inches, you want more power. So let's open this up. Okay, and you can see it's wrapped as usual for a laptop. Let's see what else is in the box. We got a little bit of paperwork here. All right. And then down here we have more paperwork, setup and warranty guide, safety and warranty guide, and then a setup guide. All right, so that's what's in this box. Like I said, it's Dell's the only one that I used to see doing this, where you'd actually get a box that has just the laptop in it. Usually, there's a bigger box inside that, like the previous, like the Yoga 920, and I think the C630 had a bigger box, and the charger was actually in that box. So you see, this is a big machine. It's a large machine. So we're going to take a look at this in just 1 second. All right, like I promised, 1 second. So this is the Yoga C940 15. Like I said, it is pretty heavy, and like I said, it does have a Dolby Atmos soundbar, and that soundbar rotates, and so you can see it on the inside of the device. And what's very cool about that is that no matter what form factor you're using, you'll always get great sound. So if you're using it as a clamshell just like this, that sound's gonna fire right up at you. If it's in tent mode, you see, then it's just going to fire up at you that way. It makes a lot of sense. The sound quality on this machine is going to be phenomenal. I can tell you that because they had this feature on the C930 last year, and it's really great. So we can take a look at some of the ports on the side. We do have 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports over here, which is nice. Headphone jack. This is the power port. It looks like a USB Type A port, but it's not. It's it's the power port. And then over on this side, we do have our USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A port and the power. Oh no, yes, that is the power button. If we press that, it's going to light up. Okay, over here we have a pen. Right, this is a feature again brought on last year with the C930, which is the pen garage. So that pen fits right in there. You know, you don't have to worry about storing it or a magnet on the side where it might just come off. You can see fingerprints kind of, yeah, but you don't have to worry about storing the pen, whatever. So that's always nice. That was a feature that was on ThinkPad Yogas, specifically the X1 Yoga, but it was also on a bunch of the other Yoga units where it just had that smaller pen that was built into the device. Okay, this model particularly has a 1080p display, HDR 400. It's also available in 4K, obviously HDR 400 as well. So there's no OLED model like we've seen on some of the 15-inch devices that are out, but that's okay. Up here, what you have is that inverted notch. That was something that we first saw on the S940, where you actually, it allows for slimmer bezels by leaving that top piece a little bit bigger. And since the 15-inch model has a slightly larger bezel, that reverse notch is a little bit smaller. It also has a privacy shutter in here, where if we just flip this switch, that camera is blocked. Another thing that's good for is getting it open. So you can see that we have our Yoga 9 series branding right on top here. And if we... It gives it a little bit of a lip there, so it makes it nice and easy. If you want to open it up, let's see. The one finger tests, it mostly gets the job done. That's something that Microsoft has been pushing a lot, is that one finger test to show that a laptop is good. You know, that just being able to touch it with one finger and open it up to where you want it and how you want to use it. Okay, so convertible means that obviously you could use it from any form factor that you'd like. Here we go, we can have a tablet, and then of course you can maybe open up OneNote and take handwritten notes, which is something that I love to do. I just hit the power button so it shut off. But yeah, that's the Yoga C940. So like I said, Lenovo sent me the 1080p model. I always prefer the 4K model because it's just prettier, more fun to use, whatever. But obviously that eats up battery life. 1080p is about 2.1 million pixels. 4K is about 8.3 million pixels. Eats up battery life, right? So it's a lot more pixels for that GPU to push. And the thing about a machine like this is that obviously you have much more power-hungry internals to begin with. A 45-watt CPU, that eats up battery life. And that's why we have 15-watt CPUs in regular Ultrabooks and convertibles. So I suspect that's why they wanted to send out the 1080p model, because battery life is going to be a little bit better on this. Because I mean, you can have power and you can have battery life. You can't have both of those things. You know, it just doesn't make sense. The real world doesn't work that way. So I was wrong. I did say that the other model is 13 inches. It's actually 14 inches. That's I was a little off on that one. It's I don't know why I was thinking 13 and 15, but it's 14 and 15. And they're pretty much not the same at all. I was going to say they're pretty much the same. Like design-wise, they're pretty much the same. They have that pen garage, the rotating sound bar, that reverse notch that I was talking about, all that good stuff. Obviously, smaller body. The 14-inch one is going to be thinner, lighter. But it's got a U series processor, which is the U series processor is the one that you'll find in Ultrabooks and convertibles, and it's very focused on productivity. It's that 15-watt processor. There's no dedicated graphics. So if productivity is your thing, that's probably the machine to get. This is the more powerful, GPU powerful, where you can actually do more playing games if you want. I mean, not heavy games, but you can play games. You can edit video if you need to. You know, it's that type of machine. So it's important to look at the use case here rather than just the size, because if you want that productivity use case and you want something bigger, there are options for that too. This probably isn't it, because it's probably a little too heavy. Probably the battery life's not good enough. But if you want that power, this is it. You know, it's got the good stuff, and I love the power. So, and I also love the power in a convertible form factor, because this is just something that's it doesn't come across my desk much. You know, as far as someone that reviews PCs, it's like I get this. Sometimes I feel like I get the same thing over and over again. Like okay, here's another Ultrabook with an 8th gen processor and a 4K display and 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage, and it's like, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna love this product, but I feel like I've reviewed a half dozen of them already. But this one, like this is not something like that. In fact, the only comparable device that I've reviewed is probably the Dell XPS 15 2-in-1. And like I said, that hasn't been refreshed with current hardware. So yeah, I'm a little pumped about this. So anyway, guys, I'll have a review on this in a few weeks. Stay tuned for that. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.